So now, ladies and gentlemen, live and in colour, it's Mr. Wayne Lovejuice.
The other day I produced a Louis, had a chat with an interesting chappie who said that the YouTube algorithms really aren't that happy. If a channel only broadcasts once a week, so we decided we could text ya whenever we've got a piece of news in our new book on the Track Extra. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of On the Track Extra. My name's John Downs. I'm the director of the Centre for Fortean Zoology, and this is my new designer Jack Russell shaped keyboard stand. Because for some reason my designer Jack Russell, Archibald, wants to sit on my knee, and it's very nice of him to be so affectionate, so we're just going to have to go with it. Now I've got something rather pleasant to show you this week. As you may or may not be aware, and if you're a regular viewer on this show you probably are, I've always been very fascinated by the work of a man called Hugh Newman, who was a butterfly expert who ran a butterfly farm in Kent for the first half of the 20th century. And I've always been a fan of his, and I've also always been a fan of a man called Philip Allan, who wrote a series of really interesting little books about moths. From memory, there's one called Moths and Memories, another called A Moth Hunter's Gossip, and another one called Leaves from a Moth Hunter's Notebook, which is the only one I haven't got. And rather embarrassing, I can't remember the name of the fourth one. But I've always enjoyed these sort of conversational books about the study of butterflies and moths. And it is a genre of literature which in recent years sadly seems to have died out, quite possibly because moth and butterfly collecting is now quite rightly seen as something that should not be encouraged in young people, and is seen as being like a sort of junior type of blood sports. I used to collect moths and butterflies when I was a boy, and I was always horrified when my mother told me that she and her cousins used to go bird's nesting and collect birds' eggs back in the early 1930s. It seemed to me like an awful, horrible thing to do. And so with the, if I like to say, the civilization of society, the way that we do seem to be as a society in this country at least, more aware of the rights of animals, the status of the other creatures that live on our planet with us. And so, and it's largely a good thing, butterfly and moth collecting is not something that kids do these days. But sadly, with the death of butterfly and moth collecting, it is the death of the books that have been written about it. And I'm very, very pleased to say, look what I have got here. This is a smashing book called The Magic of Butterflies and Moths, and it's by old friend of the show, Steve Andrews, who's a really, really, really nice guy, and who I'm going to have on the show sooner rather than later to talk about this book and to explore how these days, with the advent of digital cameras, one can have a very interesting butterfly and moth collection without killing anything. Nothing needs to be pinned to any strips of cork, and nobody needs to be put into a killing jar, which is a jolly good thing. But I love this book. It's an absolute cracker of a book, and I very much hope that it's something that Steve is going to write more of. For example, I am just opening this at random, and now my designer keyboard stand has gone down, but these species of ringlet butterflies are not the only butterflies that can be found in cold Arctic lands. The pale Arctic clouded yellow Curleus nasty is one more such butterfly that braves the inhospitable reaches of the far north, but it's a member of the Pieridae, the family which includes the far more common large Pieris brassica and small white Artigerae rapae butterflies. In fact, the pale Arctic clouded yellow inhabits northern parts of Norway, Sweden and Finland, where in the locations it does live in it can sometimes be found in its hundreds. Well, I didn't know that. I've been studying British and, to a lesser but still significant degree, British and European butterflies most of my life, and I had no idea that there were Arctic clouded yellows. And this book is full of all sorts of wonderful little snippets which will open your eyes, will make you think, bloody hell, I didn't know anything about that, and make you be more diligent when you're out and about to see what butterflies and moths are sharing the world with you. I cannot recommend this book highly enough. And Steve, if you're watching this, will you come on the show, because I'd love to talk to you about it.